on a separate occasion, I come home and he got catering. He got catering $2,500 because he tell the man 50 people come in and 10 people show up and then he directed them to me. So I had to say to him, listen, you need to understand, you need to not do this. Anything that I'm not involved in, I'm not paying for, right? But it's this crazy sort of situation because in Barbados, people just trust things, right? He called out some man bought a turkey, $200 for a turkey, right? Because it's the size of like, it's the size of a pig. So who cooking this turkey? I vegan. I ain't know how to cook turkey anyway. Nobody else here ain't cooking a turkey. My mother died. My mother died. She ain't cooking the turkey. So the turkey stand there. For some reason, he managed to get her in the sink, and it stand in the sink, and it went off. I had to throw away a $207 turkey because he don't involve nobody in his projects, and he's not making good decisions, and this is the result of that. The night of the catering thing was the night of my mother's funeral. He called it a wake. But anybody that know my father know that he belly. That's all that is. He belly. He is his priority. When she was sick, he was making a beeline from the bedroom straight to the kitchen until in a fit of rage, said to him, "You won't even stopping on your wife to ask you how she doing." And then every day he started stopping it. But to say, well, oh, the master this and the master the next. These like that's why I can't respond to the so-called Christians, right? When they comment on my posts no more, because the majority of women is hypocrites. The majority of women is worse than a lot of people that ain't going up in a church. But the majority of women pious and want to pray for people, or you can pray that you have a relationship with God. Get off your high horse and realize that according to this book that I believe was written by men and not by a god, according to this very book, one is the very people that for which there will be gnashing of teeth because when are so convinced that when are going into the place called heaven after when are dead, that when a beak can get break because when they don't understand basic principles of selflessness and humility, right? And so he just be talking about the master, this and the master preserving his life because a very, very self-important, right? He has these ideas about himself that he's important for the world, right? And this general idea that you're to come to him and tell him what is going on. He ain't to ask no questions. So the whole period of my mother's illness and her death, he was not a part of that at all. Planning the funeral, he never once asked a question about the funeral. Um, and at one point I had a conversation about it because I've learned, that he is who he is and I accept him as he is. I don't try to change nobody and yelling at nobody ain't gonna change them anyway. So I accept him as who I accept him as himself. But I wanted to just ask him, like how you get so, but not like that. I was like, so these things, and I pointed out these things to him that make him seem very detached from his own emotions and incapable of showing emotions for other people. He had no emotional reaction to my mother's death, none, and instead just threw himself a catered party. And they wanted to throw another one and involve me in it after I chewed him out about this catering party where the door was open and my autistic sister could walk out into the street, people coming and going. I don't know who these men is in the house and thing. Listen to me. And you know what does piss me off about this whole thing is that people on the outside now will hear his version of things. And his version is vilifying the children, right? I oftentimes overhear him on the phone, bad talking his sons. For one, he will say things like they don't believe what I believe. They don't. Some people they're fools. They don't believe in the master. But outside of that, anything where he doesn't get his way, he will be talking about that and giving his version of things, which is always completely out of order. Why? Because in his world, and there's a whole generation of Barbadians who believe this nonsense, which is that respect and isn't earned. It is due to you based on your title as parent or father or mother. And I don't subscribe to that nonsense at all. Zero, zero. Uh, and so all this good morning on a morning, and if he ain't here, I might say right, because it irritates me that he feels that his job is done and that he's respected as a father wants to say good morning to him. That's all he need, right? And so sometimes I just don't want to give it to him, right? Being human, could there have some pity on me? Being human, sometimes I just be like, right, and he's be like, good morning. I said good morning, and I just be like, you in my mind, I just be like, you don't talk to me. And if I don't say good morning to you, the world can end. Like, it is so irritating to me. Like, these symbols that people like him have of that mean so much to them, right? That in truth and in fact mean nothing because they don't have a relationship with their offspring. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like I feel lighter because you ain't supposed to air your dirty laundry. But you know what? This can bring some balance to the equation because he's already given people his side of the story. Well, this is mine. And I don't hate him. Like I said, I believe that people are who they are. I also think that there is a lot of trauma in his life because he's a hoarder as well. And I know lots of people from that generation are hoarders, can't throw away nothing, has stacks of papers. I had to pelt him out when he wasn't looking, when he went. And there's decades, like over a decade ago, I had to get a truck to come here and throw away files. It didn't make no sense. The cockroaches, food for cockroaches and nests for mice. It made it make any sense. So all them things get away. He ain't even know. I don't know if you can know now, but he ain't even know why because he ain't getting in that place anyway. And I hear these stories all the time of parents who are like this, and I believe that hoarding has some psychological trauma basis, yeah, but also just incapable of seeing himself based on facts. A lot like Trump, actually, he reminds me of. Just his narrative is a fantasy, it's not based on fact, and he believes it wholeheartedly, and will then say, well, let's not argue though, and that's it for him. And he is good because another thing that I admire about him is his ability to not let anything bother him at all. So he can have an argument with you right now, and 2 minutes later he asks you to do something for him because he don't care. It don't sit with him. He don't ruminate like my mother used to, which I believe ended her life because the cancer, she has it in her family, her brother and sister died of cancer. And so the cancer is just waiting for the right conditions. And the cortisol levels and she blood was the right conditions because he was never a father, never helped her as a partner. And taking on Michelle, my sister, ain't easy. And I knew that from the times when I took on his responsibilities because I had pity for my mother. And I knew it more so after she could no longer take care of my sister. And I took on that responsibility. My sister's a nightmare. She's she's like severely autistic. She ain't like what you see in the movies with a savant that got like a particular talent, like they could pick up the piano and suddenly and play it because they hear a bird chirping outside. That is not my sister, right? And she makes noises. She is hyperactive. She won't sit still to eat. So your patience level gotta be that a job in order to deal with she. Meanwhile, he's sitting down at the table, filling his guts. The other night when he come home drunk, I sit him down taking care of his daughter, right? And he come and he sit down drunk and push, how you doing? Push, how you doing? That's the contribution to being a father. Um, calling my sister a nickname. That's the contribution. Anyway, all of that I'm not sure. How do I relate this to my sexuality? I don't think that it has anything to do with it. There was a point in time when I believed that bad relationship with your father had something to do with homosexuality, but I don't believe that anymore. There are too many examples of guys I know who have great relationships with their fathers who are also gay. So yeah, plus, yeah. I mean, things could always be worse, you know? At least he wasn't beating me with a phone card, you know? And So yeah, I'm not sure that has much of a relation to my thing. I mean, outside of it, how it would have been a nice thing to have had a father for support, because I had to fumble through life and figure things out on my own. And who do you turn to but your peers? And your peers ain't the best people to get information from, right? Of course, his views on homosexuality are antiquated as well. He he doesn't have the information. He doesn't understand how science works, and that Mother Nature doesn't really give a fuck about human morality, and that it creates just different expressions to see what will work best in different environments. So he will just, and I understand that, as a heterosexual man, you can't understand how this other thing could be a reality. But if you did wake up and you did just attracted to the same sex, you will go understand it. Because that's how it's work. The same way you ain't choose to be attracted to the opposite sex. I ain't choose to be attracted to the same sex. So yeah, I've already talked too much though. And that is the story. That is my absent father. Tell me about yours, because I feel like a lot of people have very similar situations. You just watch TV and see the white people with the wonderful families in these sitcoms, but then the reality of Black families in Barbados is, like I said, this authoritarian style of discipline, which doesn't leave room for authenticity and real connection. Anyway, that's it. Bye. I'm talking now specifically about you going out every night.
No, you can't tell me when I go and when I don't go. You can't tell me how many nights I go to bed. Yesterday at 9, and in fact it was the wrong time to be there. The man said he come back, they having cream yam which I like, and fish. Come back today, if you don't come back, I will send somebody for you. But I don't want us to get into this long squabbling about nothing.
I'm not squabbling. The problem is that when Marcia was here, we came to a conclusion. Why though? Because you're not making good decisions.
But you can't tell me what decisions I can and cannot make. You can't get a taxi man phone him. You can't, if I call this morning.